Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Oh, that was one of those that like makes my shoulders hurt.
Oh,
Welcome to
that
Grand Sumo
hard.
Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Sneezy Jake.
This is Fleric.
And what's my name, Flair?
Did you win, Mac?
I did.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yokozuna Mac.
It's been a while, Mac.
It
You're
has
gonna
been
have
a
to forgive
while.
him.
This is actually a great surprise because I thought I was gonna have to get like gloating Ryan this entire time.
Oh,
Make
no.
a sheer Ryan.
I was 1 point off from my third straight win, but couldn't quite get there because
Thank God.
Nishikigi decided to win 8 matches in a row.
Yeah.
He did.
The
One of my
story
favorite
of
things that
the
has ever
Basho. The story of the Basho. Nishikigi finishing 9-6 after a 1-6 start. What else do we need to talk about? But no, this is our Natsu.
I seriously think I need to stretch after that sneeze.
Yeah, okay.
Feel free.
It really hurts.
We're going to go through the Patreon compliments. You're not slated to do anything there, so you've got a few moments here. But this is our Natsu
Oh, thank
Basho
God. Okay,
recap.
I have a couple minutes to myself.
Yeah. And since we mentioned it, let's give some compliments to our patrons that have signed up. We have had a couple of new patrons that have signed up within the past week since we recorded the Midway episode. So to Kale Campbell, I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more Kale Campbell. Not
All
going to go
right.
for the walk-in. Can't do a great walk-in. Not even going to attempt it.
Work
Sorry.
on it.
I got a fever.
Yes.
Anyway,
Neither can Fleric. What do you know?
Yeah. All right, this one's for Martha M. You burst onto the scene with such a grand, spectacular fashion. We dubbed the Waka Martha Haru.
There you go.
You did it.
We had
We were giving
so
him
much
crap
trouble.
for like, yeah, we were giving him crap for trying to get this one straight, like before recording.
Yeah, I spent a good 5 minutes trying to find like a Superman v Batman kind of connection. Like Martha,
Martha.
how can we do this?
No. But to Rob Graham, Beth Comer, King Arthur, Radish Cat, Rod Lunsford, T. Higgins, Benedict Bull, Justice Victor, Caroline, Florida Oku, Mark Burgess, Daniel Roberts, Jessica Buckland, and Joe Hobbs. Your support is as exciting as watching Ura in the ring. Also trying to figure out what the hell Ura is, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. What even is Ura? Jake, hopefully you've had plenty of time to stretch out your back and you can give us a proper update on Amasumo.
Yes, I have recovered enough from my sneeze that I can podcast again. So June is going to be pretty busy. We've got the Riverfront Sumo Open in Grand Rapids coming up on June 10th, and we have the second annual Cowboy Cup in Dallas on the 17th. Because we got these coming up, and because we had a full April and May as well, the American Sumo newsletter will be coming out right at the beginning of June to give a brief overview of the stuff that's coming up. But what that means is that also through July and August, there won't be another newsletter until there's been like 4 events. So there's going to be that the August newsletter is going to be a real beast. But the other thing I was excited to announce here is on July 8th, in a venue to be determined, there will be the first ever Iowa Sumo training camp.
Woohoo!
So if you are here in Iowa or within driving distance and you're not a wuss about driving really far, you should come to Des Moines. I'm mostly giving crap to some of the guys that I know wrestle that are like right on the edge of driving distance that are like, maybe I'll come to Iowa this summer. I don't know. We'll see. We've got a couple national champions that are that we're working on recruiting. And as of now, I think I got like 7 or 8 people that have already committed. So
Nice.
it's going to be pretty cool. And it's going to be my first attempt at like, even if it's a training camp kind of deal, as opposed to like a big old tournament, still my first crack at putting on an event. So I think it'll be fun. Message us directly, any social media, whatever. But message us directly if you are interested or if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll probably be posting about that more as it gets closer.
Probably
Sweet.
best way to contact, I would say, a most consistent response would be grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Or give
email
us a
is
call at
is
805-613. Oh, damn it.
well, yeah, I mean that too, sure. If you're friends with me on Facebook, just message me right there. That'll get back to you quickest. But otherwise, most reliable is probably our email.
So yeah, that'll be a fun event. Looking forward to that. Once we
And
figure out
Ryan's
what the
gonna
hell
be
it's
there
gonna be.
too.
Let's keep the question mark on there. We'll figure it out.
I think
Ryan,
Flair's
you need
pretty
to wear a
committed.
Mawashi at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'm
Flair's
most likely
pretty
gonna be
committed,
there.
but Ryan's on the
Yeah.
fence.
No, I'll be there.
Oh, that was a period.
There you go.
Not
That was a
question.
period.
I'm writing it down. I'm
I'll be
writing it
there.
down. Yep.
I'll be there. All right.
Statement, not question.
Let's talk about the other headlines besides Nishiki's 9-6 record. We have a Yusho winner for the Natsu Basho. It is our returning triumphant Yokozuna Terunofuji, getting his 8th career Yusho with a impressive 14-1 record. This is moving him up the list of career Yusho ranks. He is now tied for 19th for most Yusho of all time. So he is slowly, but not slowly, ever since he came back in 2020, but very quickly rising his way up the ranks of Yusho winners. And he is 2 away from that 10th Yusho, which would give him Dai Yokozuna status, which I don't know what exactly that does for you, but you get to call yourself Dai Yokozuna instead of normal
Yeah.
Yokozuna.
Used to be able to get like the elder name if you get Dai Yokozuna, but that's no longer really a thing. So
Yeah.
Huh.
Because we can't let Hakuho have that.
Oh, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, did Hakuho ruin this?
I mean,
Yeah.
Kakuryu is currently using his name, but he can only do that for like 5 years. I think he's got.
Yeah, it's a temporary thing. But I know that there's a post on Reddit. Somebody is like statistically, I apologize, I don't remember the name. Somebody on Sumo Reddit is going through and like counting down like best Rikishi of all time. And I think I think they currently have Terunofuji in like the around 30-ish.
Okay.
Which I in part is because he has this weird, obviously health related giant gap in the middle. But one of the things that he's best at is of the Basho where he is fully competing, his Yusho/Jun Yusho rate is incredible. It's if he had not gotten sick, if he hadn't gotten all the knee problems, I think diabetes was the other big one that like kind of kicked his ass for a couple of years. But like, yeah, he's definitely like in the like ranking of all time kind of conversation. Even if he's still got like 30 people to pass, I think it's just really cool to see somebody that is historically ranked, historically accomplished, even if this is the first time we've seen him in a while.
You said the modern Yokozuna rankings is what you were discussing?
I think that's what it was called. But yeah, it's a countdown where it's what number is he at?
Okay, so there's 2 different things you could be referencing. There's somebody that does
okay, well, where's my
okay,
phone?
well, come
the
on,
modern Yokozuna rankings, and there's somebody that's also just doing the top 100 Rikishi of all time.
That's the one, the top 100 Rikishi, because Terunofuji is roughly 30 here.
Okay,
by that guy's stats.
Okay.
I am not.
That's all I was getting at. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it a big digression.
No, you're good. You're good. Because
he's Yokozuna. He's approaching Dai Yokozuna status. Still one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Moving on.
Yes, Chiyomomo is the person that has put all that information together. So wanted to make sure we got credit to that. But yeah, we'll just move on. Jun Yusho winner, Maegashira 14, Asanoyama 12-3 record. This is his 4th career Jun Yusho. Pretty much this is what we expected of Asanoyama this Basho. Does anybody have any grand thoughts on him? I don't really plan on spending a whole lot of time on Asanoyama here.
He looked good. I mean, there wasn't anything that was jarring or shaking with this. So he performed about the level I was expecting.
He lost to one other Sekiwake, and his other loss was Hokuseiho. I'm sure we'll talk more about Hokuseiho because he's proven he only got 8 and 7, but I feel like he's one of those guys that absolutely can overperform and beat anybody on a given day, potentially.
I'm now wondering what he can do if he can just use his other hand.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm just saying he did not have any
ever since
bad
you
dumb
pointed
losses.
that out, I started noticing that. I'm like, okay, I get what he's doing. That's his strong arm, but use the other hand. Like you have 2. Use them and you're big enough. Just anyway.
All I was saying was that Asanoyama did not have any dumb losses. He had
No,
3 of
no.
them. All 3 of them are completely legit. It's kind of what we expected to see out of him.
Yeah. Didn't really put up a whole lot of a fight against Terunofuji, but he's 0-6 against Terunofuji for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are struggling with Terunofuji at the moment.
Yeah, you look
But-
at
Except for Meisei. Meisei didn't have a problem.
who Terunofuji fought in the final 6 days. His record against his opponents in the final 6 days were 6-0, 9-0, 3-0, 6-0, 10-0, and then Takakeisho on day 15 where he's 6-4 against Takakeisho.
Well, another Ozeki. Okay.
There we go. But no, I think the big question mark I have is like whether or not he's like up to his Ozeki level, or maybe the level of Ozeki is kind of risen or so. So I don't know. Like he dropped some games against what it was Sekiwake. Well, I'm trying to see.
He lost to Daisho, Terunofuji, Hokuseiho.
So, well, like he's definitely up there in the Sanyaku, but whether or not he's back to Ozeki status, or if the Ozekis are just kind of super strong right now, maybe that's kind of the big question mark in my head. So, but he's not there yet. But yeah,
the
it looks very
Sekiwake
impressive.
right now are kind of de facto Ozeki. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, Daisho is pretty much de facto Ozeki. Actually, no,
Wait,
Daisho had a
whoa,
great
whoa.
record too. Daisho
Yeah.
had a good record too. We can't
Yeah.
fully count him out on this one.
Special prize winners for this Basho. We had 2 winners of the Ginosho Technique Prize. Sekiwake Kiribayama getting his 3rd career Technique Prize and his 4th special prize overall, and also Wakamoto Haru getting his 1st career Technique Prize and his 1st special prize overall. We had 1 Shukinsho Outstanding Performance Prize given. That was to Maegashira 6 Meisei. This is his 1st Outstanding Performance Prize and his 2nd special prize overall. He also got that Outstanding Performance Prize for picking up his 1st Kingboshi in his career. So a lot of people might not kind of be familiar with this awarding of the Outstanding Performance Prize because we haven't had a whole lot of situations where we've been able to see it, but it's a very classic situation of your Yokozuna wins the Yusho going away. They lost to 1, maybe 2 people, and if you're a Maegashira that beat Yokozuna and you also had a winning record, here's your Outstanding Performance Prize.
Mhm.
So that's just kind of how that works. Kind of real quick stop down on Meisei here. He was looking dynamite week 1, culminating in that victory over Terunofuji on day 9. And then after that day 9 victory, I don't think he won any more matches. Yeah, he lost his final 6 matches, but he did look injured those last few days. So maybe it was the competition, like facing heavy Sanyaku schedule in week 2 that got to him. Maybe there was an injury, but still, Outstanding Performance Prize for Meisei for getting a great win over Terunofuji. And there were no Kanto Show Fighting Spirit prizes awarded this Basho. There were a couple of candidates that might have been able to pick one up. Maybe Asanoyama for a 12-3 record. Maybe Oho getting an 11-4 record down at Maegashira 16. Anybody have any strong feelings about neither of those guys getting awarded a special prize?
Is this the most stingy of the awards? I feel like the stipulations for this one are really tight.
No, I think technique.
I was going to say the opposite.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. But
Fighting
and that's why I'm
spirit,
looking at
yeah.
this going, because there were so many amazing performances with this. I'm like, why didn't
Sure.
anybody get one? Like that makes no sense. Is this the most stingily awarded prize? Like, what the hell?
I was going to say literally the opposite, because I feel like Fighting Spirit is like you get 11 plus wins as a Maegashira, you get one like almost all the time. I'm not going to say it's an all the time thing. I went back about a year and a half here just while we were talking, just kind of scanning through. And I only found like 3 times where a Maegashira got 11 plus and did not get a prize. One of them was Ryuden, who was also on his way back up from a suspension. So maybe that is a factor. One of them was Hoshoryu getting 11 wins in like the single digit Maegashira. And then Hokuto Fuji got 11 wins at Maegashira 12. But like of the other like 15-ish guys that I found, there's generally 1 or maybe 2 Basho. They pretty much always get something. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Asanoyama didn't get one, but at the same time, seeing Ryuden as one of the only other exceptions, maybe they just didn't feel like these guys deserved it on their way back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basing this on no research, I kind of feel like Fighting Spirit Prize is kind of awarded based on versus your expectation for like Asanoyama, he is a former Ozeki. He's down in the lower Maegashira ranks. He should be getting a 12-3 record. That's kind of what you're expected of. Because like the fighting spirit is what you get if you make your Makuuchi debut and you get 10 wins. It's like, okay, this is your first time here. You get 10 wins, fighting spirit prize is what you get. Or if you're like your career high rank and you get a really good record, then you get fighting spirit prize. I feel like once you're up in Sanyaku ranks, upper Maegashira, you're like competing for the Yusho. If you're getting a prize, you're more likely getting outstanding performance or technique than the fighting spirit. So to me, it seems like fighting spirit's kind of like, hey, you're doing better than what we thought you would do. Here's a special prize.
Sure. So then why aren't there any awards for this one? The people to clearly define themselves in this tournament. I mean, we already mentioned them.
I was going to say, I feel like Oho kind of is the one that kind of sticks out to me.
Case in point. Thank you, Flair.
Yeah.
The person.
The only other thing, I mean, Oho's been, Oho hasn't done anything spectacular in his career. I think his previous best was a 10-5. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like he's not like
Ryan and the Oho hate already. Been here 10 minutes and we just got to rip on Oho again.
All right, fine. Show me the special prize Oho's won. Show me the Yusho and Jun Yusho Oho's won. If you want to get technical, I'm still correct.
The man's already 23. He's washed up.
What I was trying to say is like Oho hasn't been to like the heights of the joy, heights to the Sanyaku, where like an 11-4 record from him is like unexpected and is like kind of what we expect from him at Maegashira 16. So that one kind of raises my eyebrow a bit more than the Asanoyama one. But yeah, I guess that's the only person I could point to that wouldn't deserve it, because nobody else got double digits that would really deserve a fighting spirit prize. Because fighting spirit prize, I really feel like is double digit minimum, whereas technique and outstanding performance, not necessarily double digits. Because I know we've seen Enho get like a 9-6 technique prize, and Wakataka Kage, I think 9-6 10 technique prize.
Last point I had real quick was it looks like they, on average, there's generally one guy getting each of the 3 awards. Most often let's see, you got to go back to September of 2021 to find the last time there was not a fighting spirit awarded. In that time, the outstanding performance, there were 2 times it was not awarded. Same with the technique prize. There were 2 times it was not awarded. So yeah, it's not super common to have any of these just let blank. But yeah, the Kanto show, the fighting spirit tends to be at least 1, and often there are 2 guys that get that one.
Yeah, I think we've seen as many as 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2020 and 2019, they were each triple.
Yeah. But I feel like this Basho, a lot of the good scores were sucked up by the people that were in the upper ranks and probably aren't going to get a fighting spirit prize, or we expected it for them, like Asanoyama, or apparently we're expecting 11 wins out of Oho now. So
yeah, actually, no sense. Doesn't make any sense. That was my point. It's like this is not the most stingy award. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, because I know Koto no Waka, he's gotten a couple of them, and so we're going real deep into fighting spirit prizes. But
yeah, should we maybe move on?
Hold on. I just want to get my point about Koto no Waka out. Sure. He was a Maegashira 11. He went 12-3. Very deserving of a fighting spirit prize. Next Basho, he was up at his career high, did really bad, and then fell back down to 2 Basho later. Maegashira 14, 11-4. Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize. Maegashira 6, 11-4. Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize. So really, that's just leading me to believe, might have been a little snubbed here. I mean, the dude won like his last 7 matches. So if anybody should be salty about no Fighting Spirit Prize, I would say Oho here. Somebody who should not be salty about not getting the Fighting Spirit Prize is Jurio bound Punk Kagayaki. Once again, continuing his streak of not doing anything ever. And also, Kotowaiko has never done anything ever, but Kotowaiko's fun to watch, so I'm not going to shit on him. I like Kotowaiko.
Thank you.
We like Kotowaiko.
Yeah, I like Kotowaiko.
He kind of rules.
Yes.
He might only be 8-7, but damn it, that's a fun 8-7.
He's entertaining.
All right. Yusho race. Not a whole lot of drama there. Terunofuji lost on day 9 to Meisei. I think that tied him at that point with Asanoyama and maybe Meisei at that time as well. But then Asanoyama and Meisei started racking up the losses. Terunofuji never did. He had a match on day 13 with Asanoyama. If he had lost that, they would have been tied for the lead. And then he had a match with Kiribayama on day 14, where if he had lost that, they would have been tied for the lead going in day 15. But Terunofuji won both of those matches, wrapping up the Yusho on day 14. A very dominant 14-1 day 14 wrap-up Yusho for Yokozuna. Very much a Yokozuna Basho for Terunofuji.
Yeah, and I just want to give credit to some guys. There were some people around day 8 or so, podcast Grand Sumo Breakdown, I think they're called, that absolutely nailed that Meisei was a pretender, not a contender. Lost 7 of his last 8.
Yeah, once he started fighting those people that were in the named ranks, it got a lot harder for him, as you would expect somebody who was fighting Maegashira 4 and below up until that point. But I think I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time on Terunofuji here. Fleric, what tickled you there?
No, just the fact that we're, patting ourselves on the back saying that Maegashira 6 was a pretender.
You know what? Hey,
you're damn right.
Good,
we nailed it, though.
Yeah, good call us. You know what else was a good call by us on the Midway episode?
Yeah.
All 3 of us, Mac, Jake, and I, all predicted Terunofuji Yusho as the undefeated Yokozuna through the first week. We thought he might win the Yusho. God, we're good.
Damn.
So good at this.
I was good enough that I won the Jump series, right, Fleric?
That you did, Yokozuna, Mac.
Thank you very much.
Great predicting on your side.
Thank you.
But
anyway,
I think what I was gonna say. Anybody else have any thoughts on Terunofuji at this point? Like I said, he's doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want so badly to not to hate him, but to have him be the kaiju, the final raid boss, like the big bad,
the culmination.
And then I saw a GIF on Reddit of somebody handing him his baby during his Yusho celebration, and he just made goofy faces at his baby, and it just melted me. Like, the son of a bitch. He's like, nice.
Yeah.
I guess the final thing I want to say about him, I think he's really kind of grown into this Yokozuna role. Like, when he's healthy, he's that dominant Yokozuna, and this was definitely a Yokozuna performance. How many times have you seen them come back and they just kind of are maybe a little bit better than the competition, but they're still the favorite, but they're only a little bit better? He kind of just came in and just says, I'm still that much better than everyone. I am the person to beat whenever I enter. So I think he's just kind of grown into this role so well, and I'm just enjoying my time with him as Yokozuna.
One other thing I did want to point out, something I remembered, was I think it was his day 12 win against Wakamoto Haru, where his momentum took him out of the dojo and he had to jump out of the dojo.
Yes.
His knees did not look very happy about the landing there. So, I mean, this is a man without a meniscus, I think.
Glass knees.
Yeah. So it's going to be painful. But so he's still very much not 100%. I mean, he hasn't been 100% since he went all the way down to Jonidan. But it's still incredible how somebody with his knees is able to dominate in as much of a fashion as he is. But it also kind of makes you feel like this one more bad landing and it could all be done for him. I really hope he's able to rack up 2 more Yushos and get to 10 before
be a Yokozuna.
Before his knees force him to call it quits.
He needs to do some eccentric box jumps. Jump
I
off
think
the
that
box.
would be
and
terrible.
land.
I think that would be terrible for him. That's the worst thing he needs.
Yeah. I think, to me, we've talked about this or hypothesized about this in the past, that his knees seem to be the pieces are falling off of him, but the part of it that allows you to push forwards is fine.
Yeah.
Everything else can go. That doesn't matter. That's just spare parts. But the parts that allow him to push another huge man in one direction work great.
No lateral movement,
evidenced.
only forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he just has such a dominant body size. He's like the Michael Phelps of sumo, where his body was built. He's like a mutant to do some sumo stuff.
Yeah.
It's just great.
But when you can physically overpower your opponents and then bring your shoulders in to lock their elbows so they can't move, it's that's telling. That's very telling.
Yeah, it's just because it's just they have nothing they can do, and it's just when you get that situation, you're just what do we do at this moment? And he can just get away with it because he just has
you
that
walk
body
backward
size.
and I win. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was the back-to-back Tobizaru and Ura matches that he won by Kimedashi where, let's see, and he had another one
That's
later
weird.
against Hoshoryu.
Yeah, Hoshoryu.
But
Yeah.
whenever people go in and they're like, haha, I have double insides, and then he wraps around the outsides,
And
it was
locks them.
specifically Tobizaru, because Tobizaru freaks out about anything. But like, as soon as he locked that in, Tobizaru's hands were on the belt and they just went, ah! Like he just like let go and
Yeah.
started flailing like a baby. Like he just, ah, shit.
Nope,
He did
you're
the
done.
thing.
You're done. Walk
trying to
backward.
All right. Let's talk about probably the biggest story coming out of this Basho, and that is the bolstering and strengthening of the Ozeki ranks. Yokozuna Ozeki title no longer for Terunofuji. We don't need it. Get it out of here. As Kiribayama ended up with an 11-4 record to get a total of 34 wins over the past 3 Basho, all of which were in the Sanyaku ranks. There will be a meeting on Wednesday to discuss his promotion to the Ozeki rank, and that meeting is basically just a rubber stamping because it has never been denied when that meeting occurs. So Kiribayama will become the 6th Mongolian to ever become Ozeki, and the other 5 Mongolians who all became Ozeki all made it to Yokozuna as well. I'm not saying that we should have those expectations of Kiribayama, but just saying that's a fun pattern. So, Jake,
I wouldn't mind. That would be cool.
I would be pretty neat. I would be down for that. So, Jake, will Kiribayama be an Ozeki closer to Takakeisho when Takakeisho's around and healthy, or Shodai and Mitakeyumi kind of not really giving us anything good and gone within 2 years?
I have no reason to think that he will struggle. I think that he has another corner to turn before we can look at him as like the next Yokozuna. I'm not saying he won't be. I'm just saying that like that's not where my expectation is right now. Because before this Ozeki run, he's hit double digits a couple times, but he's generally like a Joy mainstay getting 8, 9, or 10 wins most of the time. I think his style is a lot similar to how I would say maybe Mitakeyumi's style really fit being an Ozeki. Like he's very versatile, he's very strong, but he's got that extra dimension of like, if you're a skinny Mongolian, you do like drips, right? Like that's just how it works. So he's got that extra arrow in his quiver compared to some of the other guys that may have reached this rank. But I just think that he's so versatile that he's not going to like have somebody like figure him out and all of a sudden he's not as good as he was or what have you. I think injury is really the only thing sticking in the way of potential injury, I guess, is like the only thing that would like stop him from being an Ozeki for at least a couple years. That's kind of where my expectations are at. I'd love to see him become a Yokozuna, just like we all want to see promotions because they're awesome and whatnot. But my expectation right now is that he'll probably settle into a 8 to 11 wins, reliable, but a lot of fun to watch kind of Ozeki.
Might pop off for another Yusho or 2 or something like that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Very much probably like the expectations I would assume people had for Kakuryu, and then we saw what happened with Kakuryu. He eventually was able to put it all together and get that Yokozuna promotion, and he's under the wing of Kakuryu now, so it's very much in the cards. Because, I mean, right now, besides Terunofuji, who would you take over Kiribayama? Like, Terunofuji can't win all the Yusho, so Kiribayama might be next in line to take those. I don't know. Fleric, right now, if assuming every party is healthy and except for Terunofuji, he's gone. Who would you take as the Yusho favorite? Kiribayama or Takakeisho?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Why he asked it.
Yeah, that's very. And now here it's my heart, like there was something that just kind of keep saying that everyone's healthy. I gotta say Takakeisho, simply because I think he's got that dog in him. He's just
fights.
fierce.
That man is scrappy.
Yeah. He is a scary guy to go up against, and you can see like when he's hurt, like he he will probably do most anything to win. And if you go against him, you're gonna get slapped a bunch of times. If
Yeah.
Oh
least,
my
like,
god!
during the match.
His
At
match
least-
with Wakamoto Haru.
yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
poor man's face.
like look at like he has definitely hurt this Basho, but he's still got like at least his 8 wins. He's gonna be sticking around, and when he's healthy, like what's his record against Terunofuji? Like it's like what
4-6.
4-6,
which is a lot better than most everybody else at this.
Technically
part of the
5 and 7 because they both have a playoff win.
True.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there you go right there. So it's a healthy Takakeisho, he just finds ways to win. So I have to give him the favorite.
All right.
Whether or not he gets back to the health of where he was at like about a year ago, that's kind of still up in the air. But it's like, but I would give the favorite. I will give the advantage to Takakeisho.
All right. So since we're talking about Takakeisho here, he was Kadoban coming into this Basho after he pulled out of the previous tournament. He was able to get his 8th win on day 13 against Meisei, I believe. He had a couple of Henka sidesteps at the Tachi-ai. Mac, do you take any umbrage with some of the tactics used by Takakeisho to secure his 8 wins when we all know coming into this he was far from 100%?
No, I think Fleric really kind of summed it up in what he was saying earlier. He's got that fight in him. He's got that real mean streak. When he's injured, he is going to do anything in his bag of tricks to win. And at this stage in the game, as an Ozeki, trying to fight back from Kadoban, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to have that fight. You need to have that willingness to dig down. And his opponents need to expect that. He's an Ozeki. He's fighting back from Kadoban. You have to expect everything and anything from this guy, including the Henka. I know that's kind of a faux pas in a lot of sumo etiquette and a lot of the traditionalist rings, but it works. It's a recognized move. It's a way to move. You got to expect that.
Yeah, I think by the way, I love that like nice qualitative quantitative sports analytics there of how much dog he got in him.
Yes.
But the yeah, I think the line between Ozeki and not Ozeki is so strong, and as far as like how you're treated and like what your status is, and Takakeisho
How hard it is to get back there.
Yeah.
and Takakeisho has proved that he will do what he's got to do. He has that game theory mindset that he's not going to let a couple people getting their panties in a twist take him down from doing the thing that he knows he's got to do to win. And I mean, as a Western sports fan, I feel like we respect that a lot more than I think more traditionalist Japanese, or especially like the stodgy old Yokozuna Deliberation Council people. They probably don't appreciate it.
Rebel.
But yeah, no, I think that I think doing everything he possibly can to squeak out 8 wins this time and heal up, it's what we should have expected if we didn't, and I think that's kind of what we didn't expect him to struggle quite as much as he did in the second week, but he made it through, whether by Henka or by absolute slobber knocking.
And it
he did the deal.
And it was probably 1 or 2 matches where he kind of had the shifty techniques, which for some people is 1 or 2 matches too many. But he still had, against the smaller opponents, he still had his straightforward sumo that he was able to win with when it came against some of the bigger guys that he wasn't able to move because he just lacked the strength that he usually had. That was usually a pretty quick loss for him. But it wasn't every day with the crazy tactics. And yeah, we are looking at this as a Western sports mindset of win at any cost. Like this is his career. This is his livelihood. There's so much at stake, as Jake said, with the Ozeki rank. You do what you can to keep there. To heck with the honor and the spirit. Get your bag. Get yours.
And I think in like also in Japan, the one thing that I think there's more understanding when someone's injured for kind of those shifty tactics of where it's like it's more Henka and stuff like that. And like to kind of support that point, it looks like the Yokozuna Deliberation Council, they had no problem with like the Henkas and the stuff he did, and they said he did his duty as an Ozeki is what their official statement is.
Did they really?
That is a switch.
Makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times?
It might be. Go ahead,
No,
Mac.
no, I was gonna say, how many times when Hakuho would be, I mean, now, granted, he wouldn't Henka, but just all the other things that Hakuho would pull in there, like, oh no, this is not befitting of a Yokozuna. And to hear actual praise coming from them is just odd.
Yeah, it's almost like JSA West has an influence, and or I guess we're YDC West.
Mhm.
We have
Yeah.
maybe we're rubbing off on them a bit.
Delusions of grandeur. I love it.
We've written enough letters that maybe by chance they accidentally opened.
They can't
one
ignore
and,
us forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Flarek, do you want to just read those quotes that you pulled?
Oh yeah, sure. And
yeah.
I think this the source of this is from Sumo Baller on Twitter. It's let's not
as
forget
good as any source.
Yeah. Let's not forget that he was in a position to gain Yokozuna status not too long ago and was driven to Kadaban by injury. So he did his part by throwing off the Kadaban. He did what he could to maintain his position as Ozeki, and in that sense, I think he's done his duty as an Ozeki and did nothing to shame the rank.
Love it.
Although they were also
That's a
probably super worried
surprising
about
result.
the Banzuke crisis with
Yeah.
Also,
Yokozuna.
yes. I think that scared them more than anything.
That's like our sumo version of like the looming debt ceiling. That's
Oh,
what
God.
the Ozeki crisis is.
They did have a quote directly referencing that. Splendid results. The balance is broken. Once again, the balance was broken. Once
Okay.
again,
Yeah.
having an Ozeki on the East and West is indeed joyful.
They closed the door. Oh, thank Christ.
I'm glad Frodozan was able to deliver that Banzuke.
Frodozan
Yeah.
Bagatoho.
Baganoho, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
right.
such a fun punishment.
That makes me so happy that they're like, yeah, cool. Everybody's good. They have good things to say about
Mhm.
Terunofuji, good things to say about Kiribayama, all the Sekiwake. It's so nice having a happy YDC.
Yeah.
Somebody woke up on the right side of the retirement center bed.
Yeah. So let's talk about all of our other potential Ozeki candidates, as all four of our Sekiwake, who each had some kind of shot at the beginning of this Basho for an Ozeki promotion, all had strong Bashos, and in the case of Daisho, Hoshoryu, and Wakamoto Haru, have even better chances for Ozeki going into the next tournament. So Daisho, he has 22 wins over the past two Basho, so he needs 10 or 11 to get to that 32 over 33 mark. And I'm really considering 32 because we look at when Asanoyama was promoted to Ozeki in his first, it might have been like his first three Basho in the Sanyaku ranks, Komusubi, Sekiwake, it was 11, 10, 11, and just hitting that 32. So 32 is very much within range for these guys. So Daisho, 10 or 11 wins to get to that point. Hoshoryu, Wakamoto Haru, both of them have 21 wins over the past two Basho, some form of 10 then 11 or 11 then 10. So both of them would need 11 or 12 wins to get to the Ozeki rank for the August Basho. So Flarek, which non-Kiribayama Sekiwake did you think looked most Ozeki ready this Basho?
That's very great. I just, as much as it pains me to say this, it's gotta be Wakamoto Haru. He looked just so good, like in the beginning, and he had just such good matches when he went through. Like he just looked so strong. Like just some of the face against Daisho. As much as I wanted to believe in him, he had a great start to the Basha, but he kind of faltered towards the end. He still came out with the 10-5, but it's just some of his, like he's just a lot more one-dimensional, I guess I would say, when compared to Wakamoto Haru. So I have all the praises for that guy. I still don't believe in him for some reason. I don't know what.
Oh, I do now. This
But he
Basho
looked
has
good.
sold me on Wakamoto Haru. I am
same.
all in. That dude could be Ozeki. All aboard Wakamoto Haru train. What about Hoshoryu? This Basho getting the 11-4 record. Impressive day 15 win over Kiribayama as well to get to that 11th win.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I think he might be a victim of just the Yusho race where he had losses in the beginning, so he was kind of out of the talking points. But he quietly got to an even more impressive record. He looks good. Like he's kind of looked the same. Is he actually an Ozeki run caliber?
It has been stated by the Yokozuna Deliberation Council. They don't really have anything to say, but I know Sato Gatake some
I guess,
pronunciation
what
of
was
those
his-
sounds. The head of the Shinpan Council has said all 3 of Hoshoryu, Wakamoto Haru, and Daisho will be on Ozeki runs for the next Basho.
Yeah. How many wins is he at since
He's at
last
21.
21.
21?
He had
Okay,
10 and then 11 this time.
that's pretty good. Yeah, he's in there. He's the, I guess, 2 Fusen wins I see in there too. Looking at his record. of this
Kiribayama
Basho.
had 2 Fusen
Yeah.
wins in his Ozeki run, so that's not really going to count against him.
Okay. Yeah, it's I do like him too. It's just I think, but the eye test, this Basho, Wakamoto Haru just kind of took the cake of all 3 of them. And like, I gotta say of all 3 of them, he's looking probably the best. Even though for some reason in my heart, it's just there's something not in there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I hope it's Hoshiri.
Yeah, I know there was a sticking point for some people with Hoshoryu is like he's got to clean up those losses against Maegashira Rikshi. Like he's losing too much to Maegashira. This Basho, he only had 1 loss to a Maegashira. That was to Tobizaru on day 3. And I think it's fair to point out that was due to a dirty Hanka. Like how can you pull out a Hanka like that against somebody I like? How dare
How
you?
dare they?
How dare he?
So yeah, Hoshoryu's 1 loss was to a Maegashira was due to a Hanka. His other 3 were to Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, and Terunofuji. And then you look at Wakamoto Haru, he lost to Abi and Nishikigi in the Maegashira ranks. His other 3 losses from the Sanyaku ranks.
The Nishikigi loss was convincing.
It was second week Nishikigi was God mode this Basho. He was
Yeah,
basically
what
Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I want to say when we're talking about Hoshori that really stood out, I loved his match against Hokuseiho. I think because he just kind of showed like what to do. Hokuseiho had a strat that was just working so much on the bottom K, like lower Maegashira people. And when he got up, he got into that same situation, and he just kind of showed what the answer was for how to break that grip, like that thing. He just kind of really pushed away, and then he was able to get a grip and able to win from there. It's been a while since I've seen the match.
Under his arm or something.
Yeah,
right?
he was able
Yeah.
to duck under his armpit to kind of change the situation they were in.
Yeah, like Hokuseiho was like using his super long arms to pretty much just kind of say, hey, you can't like my arm's super hard. You can't like I'm gonna get a grip there, and you can't really do anything from there. And he's I'm gonna use your long grip arms to your disadvantage and slip under, like push away, slip under your arm, and able to break it that way. And just he's a smart guy. I really kind of like what's going on with him, and he's just kind of been slowly rising. So I have high hopes for the future on this guy.
Any more Sekiwake to Ozeki thoughts before we move on? All right. There were a couple of matches this Basho that really had people kind of like with the NFL catch rule where everybody's like, oh, what's a catch? And I'm like, it's pretty easy to figure out. I know what it is. Like I understand the rule, and every replay it goes to, I'm like, that's a catch. That's not a catch, and I'm right every time. And it's the same thing with dead body. Just learn yourselves. Learn yourselves.
Learn.
And you won't be upset. Sorry, I get really upset when anything in sports happens that somebody doesn't
We're
understand.
not talking NFL today, Ryan.
No, we're not talking about the NFL.
My bad. Asanoyama versus. Sorry, that was weird.
The dead body rule.
Asanoyama versus Kotoeko and Ura versus Kotonowaka. There were 2 matches where the dead body rule was used to declare a winner that kind of goes against the visual evidence that we saw. Asanoyama defeated Kotoeko in that match when Asanoyama had touched first, and Ura lost to Kotonowaka when Kotonowaka had touched first. And so that had a lot of people raising their eyebrows, wondering what the heck's going on. And so what happened in both of these matches, and is actually happens fairly often when you kind of know to look for it, is Asanoyama was pushing Kotoeko out of the ring. And at the same time, Kotoeko was throwing Asanoyama down. And basically, Asanoyama touched the ground before Kotoeko did. But what Kotoeko and Ura both did in their matches were they jumped backwards out of the dohyo before either Asanoyama or Kotonowaka hit the ground. And so how the dead body rule works in this situation, pretty much in any situation, I believe, is that if both of your feet are off the dohyo and you're going out of the dohyo, you're pretty much considered defeated at that point. It doesn't matter if you are still in the air and haven't touched. If both of your feet are off the ground and outside of the dohyo, you are considered defeated. Doesn't matter if you're pushing your opponent down, they're horizontal 6 inches off the ground. You've still lost the match because you have put yourself in a defeated position before the other person has. And so that's how that rule works. I know, I don't know if you remember this, Jake, but a few years ago, there was a match between Takakeisho and Mitakayumi where I was on the exact opposite side of this. I'm like, we were looking at the dead body rule, and it's like, well, you got to be in a defenseless position. How can the person pushing the other person down be in a defenseless position? I mean, yeah, they're jumping out, but they're still doing something to somebody else. But that's just, and since that time, I've really been paying attention to these situations and how they play out. And I don't know if I've done it since then, but Jake, I was completely wrong. You were right in that debate. You're not
Oh
going
my
to hear that
goodness.
from me.
Apology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that I'm glad we're recording this.
Yeah.
Hey,
No, I
if
think
I'm
it's something that,
definitively wrong. I'll admit it. It just doesn't happen.
yeah. Yeah, if I'm definitively wrong enough that I'm willing to admit it, then I'll admit it.
Yeah.
No, I think it's something it hasn't come up. We had more examples in this Basho than we have in a little while. I had another one that Kotonowaka and Nishikigi was similar. I disagreed with the call they made on that one, but like that wasn't as clear as the other two that you brought up. So like I think that position is more important than action. Like sometimes when you see somebody explain the dead body rule, there will be a factor of like who's doing the throwing or things like that. And that's not necessarily something that's as important or as easy to codify. Maybe that's part of the issue, but yeah, regardless, like the couple that we saw, like as once I saw him on the slow-mo, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's a dead body rule.
Yeah, right.
And it's something that like similar to the NFL catch rule, it's incredibly hard to be intellectually honest about what you're seeing when it's going against the guy that you want to
Exactly.
win. Right. It's just one of those ref call type things that will always, for example, the Minnesota Vikings never once has an offensive lineman held in a football game.
They're the most
always
pure
bullshit.
team in the world.
No,
Yeah.
they're angels. They're 53 perfect little purple angels. But like, yeah, I think the dead body rule is one of those things. If you just like have a few good examples and like honestly examine it and be like, all right, fine, I know my guy lost, but like, yeah, that's the rule itself is.
My guys are angels, damn it.
Yeah. The rule itself is not in another language. Well, okay, well, it literally is.
Well,
it's not
yes.
like a complete magic spell. It's
That's-
like there is an actual definition that makes sense.
Yeah, that's part of the issue is like it is another language and like the definition of it's not always been, I don't think that's really been translated to English too much. We just try to pick up what's going on with the explanations between the when they actually call it on the
commentators and all that.
Our understanding is basically reading the gist and then seeing examples.
And extrapolating and going, oh, okay.
But I will say, I think, like, I was kind of converted this Basho. I was kind of thinking, like, my understanding had to do like who's throwing who, because I always think those Uchari situations on the edge is like, well, you know, he was throwing who, like, so they're both kind of doing stuff, so it comes down to who falls first. But I think the kind of key is like the feet being out of the dohyo. That is a turning point for some people. Yeah. And so I'm kind of been paying some more attention to that, and it just is.
And when they're going out of the ring, if it's a jump or a leap to protect yourself from injury, like we saw with Ichinoji or with others, where it's like, okay, I'm going to protect myself or cushion my fall, then it's a little more debatable. But these were clearly like, no, they took off before. These were clear losses.
Yeah. Which it makes sense with those Uchari situations because their feet are usually in the dohyo when they're doing that double throw. And so it kind of comes down to like who's touching first or something like that. But like the whole, when both feet leave, like it's different rules. So And
I don't think any of us are going to pretend we completely know the dead body rule and fully understand it. I'm just saying we have a very good understanding of this implementation of the dead body rule.
This one specific tournament.
Yes. When one guy is being pushed out and the guy being pushed out is also pushing the other guy down, if the guy being pushed out has both of his feet off of the dohyo, before the other guy touches, the guy with both of his feet off the dohyo will lose. This exact scenario, we know exactly how it plays
Yes.
out.
Yeah, there you go.
It is consistent from Basho to Basho. I would say it happens a lot in Jurio, and I watch a lot of Jurio. I know not everybody watches Jurio matches. It happens a lot, and it's very consistent. What bothers me is people without evidence online, and this is a lot bigger issue than just sumo, but just like, oh, it's just whatever they want to do. Oh, they want to protect Koto Nawaka so that he could stay in the Sanyaku rank, so they gave him the win instead of Ura. Oh, this isn't implemented consistently whatsoever. I'm just like, it is in this situation. You just don't know how it works.
Which is part of the issue, because like we're just trying to figure this out by watching and with
Yeah, right,
explanations.
right.
Yeah.
So
And once again, I was on the side where before was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is wrong. But now that I know how it works, and hopefully hearing this conversation, some of you who don't know how it works, now you can look for it, see it, and that is how it will work. Unless they really
It's
mess
one
up
of
in the
those
future. And
things-
make
I was
us
gonna
look
say,
bad.
Yeah. To me, it's also one of those things where like you kind of just have to. It's not about like what makes the most sense. It's about recognizing the pattern that has been used.
You have to
So, like,
watch it long enough.
Yeah,
You have to
so
see enough
I don't
matches
feel
where you're like, okay, wait a minute.
I just want to make it clear we're not trying to like dunk on newer fans for like not knowing as much about sumo.
No.
Like,
Yeah,
we're-
that's fair. I
we
am
just-
kind of coming off bad in that. in that account, yeah.
So as usual, I have to go on here and apologize for Ryan's behavior. But no, the idea is just like, we're not saying the rule is right or that the rule makes sense. We're just saying that like when we see an opportunity for this rule to be applied, we feel like we have a very good grasp on why, or not on why,
But
on
when
what
it is
they will
applied.
decide. What will they decide? We have a pretty good idea.
Mm.
Why that's the way they defined it? I don't know.
Sorry, I'm not mad at the newer fans. I'm mad at the conspiracy theory seeking fans.
Okay, that's fair too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from this. I've made
Yes,
an ass
please.
out of myself plenty and don't need to do that.
You didn't. I was just trying to clarify.
Just some other real quick things that don't need a huge discussion. Koto Nawaka rallying to get another 8-7 rank or record at Komosubi. So this is his third straight. Basho with a winning record as a Komosubi. His 7 losses, of his 7 losses, 6 were to Sanyaku Rikshi. He basically lost to all the Sanyaku except for Takakeisho. And he also lost to God Mode Nichikigi in week 2, which there's nothing you could do at that point.
Nothing you can do.
And then Abi will be rejoining the Sanyaku ranks next Basho. He had an 8-7 record for Maegashira 1, so he will take the open Komusubi slot that Shodai and Wakataka Kage will be vacating. I believe we're going to be back down to 2 Komusubi next Basho. There's no other records that deserve forcing open a new Komusubi rank. So Koto Nawaka was there. He had a winning record. There's no Sekiwake spot for him to be promoted to. And then Wakataka Kage Shodai being dropped down. Abi has an 8-7 record at Maegashira 1. There's nobody else that can compete with that. So he will be Komusubi with no extra spots available. We had a couple of people come back from their Kyujo to try to get a couple extra wins and cushion their fall down the Bansuke. Takayasu, who had been out since day 1, returned on day 11, and he did get 3 wins to help reduce the amount he will drop down the Bansuke. Koto Shoho went Kyujo on day 10 after a 1-8 start. He returned on day 14 and got 1 more win to protect his spot in the Makuuchi division, because a 1-14 at Maegashira 5 could have sent him down to Jurio. Would have been borderline.
Sure. I just want to call out real quick that Takayasu, when he came back, at least a couple of those matches, he looked damn good.
He did look good.
So, yeah, I hope that the injury was not as severe. I hope it was just a matter of like, I feel good enough. Let me do a couple matches, but then take it easy again. Either way, though, especially which day was it? 14, day 14. He was just doing the classic boom, boom, boom. And it just beautiful. So I really hope that he's going to be back in form next Basho.
For me, there was the day 12 loss to Midori Fuji, where I know I wrote in my notes like, "Ooh, Takayasu should have stayed home," because he looked bad in that one.
Yeah, that was not a
Is
good.
that- Was that where he attacked laterally?
I don't remember.
My take was like there was one match where someone kind of got a little sideways and pushed him sideways, and he was kind of done. My take was like maybe his straightforward sumo was pretty good, but once like the lateral stuff, maybe there was like an injury or something like that.
Yeah, there was one of the matches, and it might have been that Midori Fuji one where he like started going backwards and then just kind of like took himself out the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's right. That's coming back to me. He did not really look like Midori Fuji was doing all the work on that one.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, there's like probably some injury or some situations where it just doesn't work out too well.
Well, that's what we
But
just
otherwise-
talked about Terunofuji's knees were
Yeah.
doing.
Yep, exactly.
Mitake Yumi got his first winning record since his Ozeki debut in March of last year. So he ended a year-long streak of Makekoshis. I think we talked about a bit on the midway. Did it in a bit different fashion than we're used to for Mitake Yumi, a bit more kind of pushing thrusting than belt battle stuff for him. So I don't think Mitake Yumi's all the way back. I just think the level of competition was a bit easier for him to handle with a bit of lessened Mitake Yumi sumo.
You just kind of stop the bleeding.
Yep.
Is there any other Rikshi that you guys want to note on this Basho?
We mentioned him earlier. Koto Eiko. Fight on, man. Just keep fighting on. Keep doing your thing. Keep looking amazing.
Go ahead, Flair.
Nishiki Fuji, the poor guy did the mistake of getting married right before the Basho. And
Oh,
I was pulling for him to stave off the getting married bad performance, but he no one's immune to it. No one's immune.
Yeah, similar to Nishikigi, the guy I was going to bring up. I have several times in my notes like actually good ? And that would be Tsurugisho. He went. Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah?
I mean, the answer is like no, but
Well-
that's why it's a question mark, not a period. But like he started off 9-3, which is like that's excellent for like the token low Maegashira in the upper rankings record wise. And so they were like, wow, what the hell, man? Okay, fine, toss a few Sekiwake at him. So he lost his last 3.
yeah. I was about to say, oop,
Yeah.
nope.
But while he was in like the Maegashira 10-ish range of all of his competition, yeah, he went 9-3. Good for him.
Yeah, he kind of got done dirty. If he didn't have like 3 Sekiwake, he might have gotten that outstanding performance.
He only had 2. Then they sent him back down to around his own rank. But that was
Asanoyama.
Asanoyama.
So, yeah.
Like,
So
ooh.
effectively, yes, 3 Sekiwake.
I mean, Flair, they were just matching him up with people that had similar records to him in the final week, and so
Yeah.
that's how he got matched up with
There you go.
If he didn't want to fight Sekiwake, he should have done worse.
Yeah, there you go.
So really, it's on him.
Mhm.
Rookie move. He could have won more matches if he just didn't win so many.
Yeah. All right.
But
let's-
Oho didn't have like any. But I guess he had 4 losses at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you stack up the losses early, you're gonna avoid like the really hard. See, Oho did it
That's
right.
the gamesmanship.
Yeah,
okay,
That's
no,
the
actually, you're right.
gamesmanship.
That's how
Exactly
he
like
got more
Jake
wins.
said. If you would have lost more matches, you would have won more matches.
It's when you have to lose those matches that counts.
That's like the the thumb in the eye, in the WWE match. It's like veteran move. I mean, you got to hand it to him. The ref wasn't looking. You gotta take your losses early so you can get more wins.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oho is more matured on the dohyo than I thought. He's really
He knows.
he's got the meta game down on how
Yes.
to get the
Yeah.
easy schedule late
Yep.
to get the
Mhm.
wins.
Bingo.
Mm.
All right. Let's talk about all of our lower division Yusho winners. And boy, howdy, did we have a hell of a Yusho race down in Jurio. The winner this time was Gonoyama, winning his first Jurio Yusho. This is his second lower division Yusho, former GSB belt holder Gonoyama. He debuted in March 2021 as a Sandanme Tsukedashi. He went 14-1 from the top Jurio spot and beat former OGI, now Haku Oho. But he beat OGI once in regulation and once again in a playoff. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot of Gonoyama's name in the top division over the next few years. A couple of notes about this Basho down in Jurio. This is the first ever Jurio playoff between two Rikishi with 14-1 records. It's the first ever Basho at all with two Jurio Rikishi that had 14 wins in the same Basho. And it's the second ever Basho with three Jurio Rikishi with 13 or more wins, because he had Ochiai Gonoyama with 14 wins and Atami Fuji coming on strong with a 13-2 record. His only losses were they to Gonoyama and Ochiai? I know he lost to Ochiai day one. Oh no, he lost to Tomokaze. He is the guy who put the lone loss on Gonoyama.
There you go.
I had two notes about Jurio here. First off, our listener Hal texted us about this. I didn't notice this because I didn't really watch very much Jurio. But on day 15, they pulled up 3 Makushita wrestlers to face Jurio wrestlers. Normally, like you'll see like maybe, yeah. So like normally you'll see like maybe either 1 or 0 guys getting pulled up to the next division up because there's an absence up above. But here it was 3 Makushita guys got pulled up to wrestle 3 different Jurio guys. I don't.
That's pretty regular on day. No, that's pretty regular on day 15.
Is it?
Yeah, they're a lot of times they're matching up like those. If I win this and I'm in Makushita, I'm going to go up to Jurio and take your spot, sort of thing. A lot of it is kind of that. It's not all of them, because I know 1 and 6 of Ryuo fought an 8th match up in Jurio on day 15. So I'm not sure what that was about, but no, that 2 or 3 Makushita Jurio matches on day 15 is fairly regular, it seems like.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you know more about it than I do, because yeah, I mean, I was just going to bring it up and go, wow, that's weird, and just kind of leave it.
Did you say that again? that part that I knew more than you?
Yeah. Mac, we're going to have to take a look at this.
All right. Let's note the time.
But no, I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense, because I mean, we talk about it on our Bonsuke episode sometimes about how you know, they'll kind of like toss in a match where it's like, yeah, we know that this match was made because it was going to be whoever wins goes to the higher division or something like that.
Yeah, we've seen at least once or twice like multiple Jurio versus Makuuchi Rikishi on day 15 as well. It didn't happen this time, but I know we've seen that happen before.
I'll have to watch more Jurio now. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Hal. We have both learned from Sensei Ryan today.
Mac, honestly,
Mac, make another note on that one real quick. Sorry, that just slipped out. The only other thing I wanted to say on Jurio is Ochiai getting renamed Haku Oho. No pressure, buddy.
No
pressure.
kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody named Haku Oho. What pressure can come with that?
That's a completely different name. What are you talking about?
It's
There's
completely
O in there.
different.
Yeah.
Fleric, wasn't there a note in like the research you did on it that said Hakuho wanted to give Ochiai the Shikona Hakuho, but was kind of advised against it?
He was advised against it. I'm not sure if there was actually a thing saying he wanted to do it, but he was advised against it, I guess, is what he said. Mostly because of what we talked about. No pressure, buddy.
Yeah,
Haku,
no pressure.
like there was I'm trying to think who was the during the 90s, that other Yokozuna, one of the Hanada brothers? Not
Taka and Waka Nohana.
Waka Nohana, yeah. That's like Waka Nohana the 2nd or 3rd or something along those lines. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is, like, you know, like that's a huge thing to kind of live up to, that Yokozuna before. And then there's Hakuho with Hakuho kind of size records.
Hakuho energy.
With how superstitious like sometimes sumo can be, like I think it's probably for the best that you probably didn't do that. At least not right now. Maybe maybe it's one of those things where you have to like kind of wait a couple generations.
Yeah.
Or like maybe he earns it when he gets to Ozeki or something. Like, because that happens too. The Konishiki that we know is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd of that name. There's a handful of Yokozuna that are even the same name. Like multiple people have, like a guy reaches Yokozuna and then trains up another guy that he gives his own name to, and that guy also reaches Yokozuna because he's, you know, got such a good pedigree as well as the training, and, you know, has the name passed on. So yeah, it would be far from the first time that it's happened where a coach gives somebody like the same name as somebody else from that stable or something like that.
Yeah, it's I would say it's definitely possible, this precedence, but in this situation I would say probably not, simply because that O Like looking at the breakdown of like the shikona, what kanji they use, the O is actually something very personal to his story because it's the kanji for cherry blossom or sakura, but it can also be
Oh.
read as O, which is like why they use why they use that sound in there. But the reason for that is because like he's from the place he was when he started sumo, like I guess in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. There's like this sumo tournament that happens like during the sakura during like the springtime, and apparently he won that 3 years in a row. And so he has
Cool.
kind of a connection to like the sakura to the springtime, and
That's
so
awesome.
that kanji is actually something that's kind of very personal to him. So I would be kind of surprised if eventually he drops that.
Cool.
So the other lower division Yusho winners.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, we need to stop down. I mean, actually, let's stop down and talk a little bit more about OGI.
Okay.
Because the dude is 19 years old. I don't think we can emphasize that enough. Dude is 19 years old. He's the first person to ever debut in make it to the Sekitori status after just one Basho. And I think he's going to be, I think, the second ever to make it to the Makuuchi division after 3 Basho. The other one is still active. Does anybody know who the other Rikishi is that made it to Makuuchi after 3 Basho?
Okuseho.
No.
I don't know.
Well, it's like one of those dudes up there.
Correct.
Is it Enho? No,
Is it
Endo.
like Mitake Yumi?
No,
Oh,
Mitake Yumi's close, but it is in fact Endo.
Yeah.
Endo went
Is
5.
Endo?
Yeah, he started at Makushita 10. Just like Ono Sato, not like Ochiai, but he started at Makushita 10, had 2 straight 5 and 2s in Makushita to make it to Jurio in his 3rd Basho. But in that one Jurio Basho he's had in his entire career, he went 14-1 from Jurio 13 and was promoted up
Oh, wow.
to the top division.
holy cow. So yeah, he's at 10 years and he's only spent those 3 Basho and 1 more drop to Jurio. Other than that, top division whole time. That's
Wow.
Did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. I did not know he was a Makushita 10. That's
Mhm.
impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him, Mitake Yumi, Ono Sato. I think there are 2 other guys before our time.
Sure.
All right, now let's move on to the rest of the lower division Yusho winners. In Makushita, it was Kiryuko. This is his first career Yusho. He debuted in July of 2021 and is 20 years old. He's been on a fairly steady rise throughout his first 2 years. Couple of Makekoshi in Makushita, but he should end up in the upper Makushita ranks next Basho with a real chance to make it up to Jurio if he has a good record there. In Sandanme, we had Sazanami. This is his first career Yusho. He's 23 years old. He debuted in 2015 at 15 years old, and so he's been in sumo for 8 years. He made it to Makushita in 2021 and will be going back there again after this Basho. In Jonidan, Satoru Fuji. He is 18 years old. This is his first career Yusho, his second Basho ever. And kind of interesting, he defeated a member of the 21-0 club in Oshoryu in a playoff to win this Yusho.
Cool.
So he was known as, I think, Motobayama at the time, or Motobayami or something like that at the time. He started off 21-0, and he never was able to get past the upper Makushita ranks, and he's been injured for the past few Basho, dropped down to Jonidan here. And then in Jonokuchi, Haruyama was the Yusho winner. He's 22 years old. This is his first career Basho. So I think with that, we will take a quick break and we'll come back with the landing spot of the GSB belt. Did it make it up to Jurio? And we will figure out what kind of sumo erotica does Fleric need to write.
If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back to my nightmare.
Your nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, this Basho, we actually got a lot more interaction on Twitter of other people who are following the like sorcery of this stupid GSB belt. The belt where whoever wins the match will take the belt and move up in the rankings, hopefully, until they get to the top of Makushita, and everything stalls there for 3 years. No, so this
2 years.
2 years. This Basho, the belt started on Shiden, who was at Makushita 1 East.
Right
He
there.
was right there. Damn it.
The East.
He had an opportunity to he went up to Jurio for a match. He had the opportunity to gracefully lose to a guy in Jurio and let the belt move on up the rankings, but no, didn't happen.
He won.
He beat Tsushi Minada in Jurio. Then he lost to Yuma in Makushita, moving the belt down 4 ranks. Then Yuma lost to Shishi, moving it back up 3 ranks. Oh no, maybe we're getting close. And then Shishi went and lost to Kiryuko, who won the Yusho, meaning he's going to go from Makushita 26 to Makushita single digits.
I think Leonid at Tachi Blog said probably like Makushita 3-ish.
Okay. But still, Makushita single
cool.
digits, it's still there.
Right in the spot where he can go up to Jurio for 1 match and
Win.
just
No, lose.
Well,
I have zero faith that this belt will ever leave Makushita. And honestly, at some point, it's going to do that thing where, like, you tell a joke until it stops being funny, and then, like, you just kind of get punch drunk and it starts being funny again.
Oh, God.
I think at some point, this is going to stop being, like, a social exercise, and it's going to start being a science experiment. Like, it's a marvel of probability at this point.
It is a black hole, a whirlpool, an event horizon has been found.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where our life is.
All right. So who has the belt right now?
Kiryuko.
Kiryuko. I'm just super tempted to somehow like communicate to him to let him know that you have this belt, which means you're probably cursed to lose your first match.
I need you to throw a match, buddy.
Throw a match. You're gonna
that's
win.
Really not frowned on at all in sumo, but I need you to throw a match.
Oh yeah, I guess throw a match. I guess he's
it.
probably doomed to at least win his match in Jurio when he gets popped up there. But he's probably doomed to lose some match after that.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is he's going to go 6-0 and then get matched up against somebody at like Makushita 40 who's also 6-0 on the last day, and then he'll lose to that guy. Still do well enough to get promoted, but the belt won't.
The belt continues to stay in Makushita.
Oh, that's a good point.
Save us, Ono Sato. You're our
Please.
only hope.
Lose your first match at Jurio.
Okay, what's next?
Something that we forgot to talk about for the lower stuff. The big debut, Ono Sato. We talked on the other day. He lost his first match, but then he won his final 6. So my hopes for the GSB belt: 7-0 Ono Sato proudly and strongly takes it up to Jurio. Goes 15-0 in Jurio, brings it up to Makuuchi.
To give her,
how great would that be if it spent like 2 years in Makushita and then 1 Basho in Jurio?
That would be hilarious.
To give a reminder, this is the guy who just came out of college. He started at Makushita 10, very similar to Endo, who we just talked about. He used to go as Nakamura, and he was just kind of essentially last year's hot stuff. He just won multiple tournaments, like in the collegiate and like corporate collegiate or something like that. So
Olympic, the World Games was one of them, which is like Olympic adjacent.
Yeah. So he was supposed to be like hot stuff similar to Ochiai or Haku Oho, as we're kind of talking about. But he unfortunately slipped up in the first one. But I have a feeling he's going to be all rise before too long.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the Chump results. Fleric, remind us one more time who won that.
That was dirty Yokozuna Mac. He was going to force me to write some smut. You're the one who wants me to write some smut, so.
I didn't want you to write the smut. I actually usually was planning on losing this one. I thought I was going to lose.
You can tell me not to do it then, you know.
Well, you're going to do it, but we're going to talk about this.
All right. Perverted Yokozuna Mac. Tell me more.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was actually a really close battle throughout the entire Basho. I think this is probably the best average score that we've had between the four of us. The winning score is 25 points for Mac, and the losing score was 20 points for Fleric. I think that's probably the highest losing score we've had in a tournament. So everybody did a bang-up job with their picks, except for me picking God Mode Nishikigi as my chump.
But you didn't know that at the time.
When you got Terunofuji in your pocket as your champ, it kind of evens things out for you a little bit. But yeah, Mac rode the team of new Ozeki Kiribayama and best chump pick by far, Nishikifuji, to get to the win. So
Newly married Nishikifuji.
See, I didn't know that. I was just like, he's too high. Nah, no way.
Yeah. All right. So Mac, what subject, what does Fleric need to do for the erotica to make you happy?
One of the things that I've always loved about you, Fleric, is just how you can come up with the most creative in all of our D&D campaigns. You come up with the most creative solutions to the most unlikely scenarios and situations that just completely derail any campaign. I'm going to leave this open to you. Dazzle me with some freestyle
I don't have a box.
Fleric erotica.
I don't have a box.
Sumo erotica, excuse me.
I need a box to be able to channel
Your
my
box
creativity.
is the world. Take
All right,
inspiration.
give me some Rikishi. Give me some characters. I need at least that.
Okay, you need at least that. All right.
Yeah.
Then I want Kodo Eiko.
Okay.
And I want Tobizaru.
Tobizaru, the flying monkey.
And
Let's
I want
go.
a surprise appearance of Ura.
Well, it's not a surprise anymore.
Well, it's not a surprise anymore, but
Well, make
those
it
are your
surprising.
three.
Let's surprise them.
Those are your three.
Okay. I appreciate
Flex
it.
your writing muscles. Make it surprising.
Make it surprising. Add an Ura.
Shock.
All right. Okay. I'll give this some thought, and I'll see what I can come up with.
Okay.
Liar,
next time.
you will think about it 2 days before we record the preview. And then we're going to
You
have
know
to
me.
wait. We're going to have to delay at least 15 to 20 minutes as you put the final touches right before we record the preview.
You know me. You know me quite well, Ryan.
All right, let's move on to our bold predictions and hand out a t-shirt to somebody. I'm going to say not the best crop of bold predictions that we've had, but that's kind of going to happen when it goes chalk. When nothing surprising happens, it's hard to be bold and get something right there. But we did have some notably bad predictions.
Always
first and
my
foremost,
favorite part.
Yeah. Terunofuji 89 predicting a Nishikifuji Yusho. Just you should have known he got married. We all knew that. We all expected this out of Nishikifuji. He was following the marriage meta. Bray Redruth had an 14-1 record for Abi. Couldn't quite get the Hanka game working that well to get to 14 wins. And Ben Marshman, usually in most Bashos, Ben Marshman probably would have been spot on. But this year, we're finally getting some hope at the upper ranks because he predicted Takakeisho and Kiribayama out injured by the end of day 10. It's the tragedy Basho.
That's mean.
I feel like most other Bashos, the bad thing that we don't want to happen would have happened. It's just like all of a sudden we're getting fed some hope, which is just leading us up to some huge disappointment coming in July. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Some of our good but not quite there predictions. Susie Freckleface predicted a kind of expected retirement from the Jurio ranks, which we got from Tochi Noshin.
Some epic foreshadowing there.
Yeah. JLA predicted Terunofuji. Of course, he's the Yokozuna. So you show prediction.
Exactly.
Not super bold.
Yep. Loska predicted Terunofuji Yusho, Asanoyama 10+ wins. He also predicted Wakamoto Haru Jun Yusho. He followed up after the Basho saying, if I had inverted Asanoyama and Wakamoto Haru, I probably would have won. And you know what? You would have won if you got all three of those, but the other two just not quite bold enough. And the t-shirt winner, you actually heard his name already. Terunofuji 89, who predicted the Nishikifuji Yusho. But Terunofuji 89 also accidentally started Sumo Mayanichi's Chiyoshoma Hanka prediction on our bold predictions thread. And he said, Chiyoshoma Hanka on day 3. And God darn it if Chiyoshoma didn't Hanka on day 3. And so you know what? in a field of predictions that were either just weren't bold enough or the bold ones didn't come to fruition, predicting somebody's going to hanka on the exact day it happens, even if it's Chio Shoma and you got a 50-50 shot because he's going to do it 8 or 7 times throughout the Basho.
Yeah.
That's good enough for this Basho to win the t-shirt. So congratulations, Terunofuji89. We'll be contacting you shortly to send you a free Grand Sumo Breakdown t-shirt. And
why don't I start off the GSB awards, because this first one was mine. It's the By God, He's Broken in Half award. And this is going to go to Takanosho landing the twist of fate on Tamawashi, especially because they had to rematch immediately after.
Yes.
Which was just the icing on the WWE move cake. I mentioned it on the midway as well, but like that was probably my favorite like silly moment of this Basho.
I know Mac and I had the same exact thought for this next award, but the Matrix Award going to Ura for his Day 11 match versus Nishiki Fuji for his 6 slow-mo bullet dodging that he did there at the Tawara to win that match.
Beautiful.
We got the Throwing Giants Award because I don't know how we went this entire podcast without mentioning Wakamoto Haru's sick Uchari win over Hokuseiho. That's probably the best win or end of a match we saw this Basho. That was just absolutely beautiful.
I threw out my back watching that one.
Yeah.
The Stop They're Already Dead award.
It's already dead.
Go to the Shimpan for announcing a Tori Naoshi rematch between Mitorio and Terunofuji on day 12 after they both had a very long match and were just clearly had nothing left to give after that match. Like in the middle of the match, you could hear both of their breathing as you're watching it. And to prove that they had nothing left to give, Mitorio attempted a henka in that rematch, which was slow enough that Terunofuji was able to catch him and walk him out pretty quickly.
Oh man, it was like the one time that I saw a Mono-e like almost ever where I'm like, just pick one. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't make it do it again. I think care who. Just
even Murray Johnson on the feed was just like, I don't think either men really want to be up there right now. Like, no, hell no.
I think he's onto something.
Yeah.
And then I have the last one, which is the Take That and One of These award to Poor Wakamoto Haru's Face by Takakeisho Sarite. Oh, that hurt. I also was debating on calling this one Why Won't You Go Out award, because nothing Takakeisho did was working against Wakamoto Haru.
Yeah. Takakeisho was in, I got my 8 wins mode, so I'm just going to kind of do whatever I want. Doesn't matter if I win. Apparently, he really wanted to smack Wakamoto Haru in the face.
I kind of hope that becomes the new, like, Hakuho. Who was it? Tochiozan. He saved, like, one extra gear to shift into of just rudeness when it was Tochiozan across the ring from him.
When I was watching this match, I started thinking back, like, Wakamoto Haru laid a massive harite on Tsurugisho the previous day. I thought, is that a wreck? Is he taking revenge on Tsurugisho? Like, no, he still lost. Never mind.
Yep. And then the match of the Basho, we had 4 candidates for it this time. On day 10, Meisei versus Hokuseiho, where Hokuseiho had great defense at the Tawara multiple times before recovering and able to throw Meisei down to the ground. Day 11, the Wakamoto Haru versus Hokuseiho match with that beautiful Uchari win by Wakamoto Haru. On day 12, we had Tobizaru versus Ura, where they're just kind of slapping each other for a little while, trying to get the other off balance. Tobizaru finally got Ura off balance, but you don't keep Ura off balance for very long. He was able to recover and win with the uber rare Zubuneri Kimarite. And then on day 14, Terunofuji versus Kiribayama. A good, strong attempt by Kiribayama to take the Yokozuna down, but the Yokozuna proved to be too powerful for Kiribayama to move, and Terunofuji got the win there. Our choice for match of the Basho was that Meisei versus Hokuseiho match. For me, it had the most action from beginning to end. It had that near loss by Hokuseiho and then the recovery for the throw. Just had a bit more of the elements than all the other matches had for me. All right. So we are going to move on. We've got a couple of questions from some of our patrons. So from Giuseppe Salico.
Hey, we like him.
We do. We like all of our patrons.
I'm just saying he's no. But my point is, he
screw
comes
that
up
guy.
with he actually asks us questions. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
talk to us. We want to answer your questions.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Yes,
All right.
Giuseppe does actually send us
He
questions.
actually
regularly.
sends us questions.
Yes. Be more like Giuseppe. Send us more questions. So he is asking, since we've now been watching sumo for about 6 or 7 years, how has our perception of matches changed? Can we understand and see techniques better? Do we appreciate more wrestlers than we might have when we initially began? I'll say for myself, definitely can understand when people talk about like my brand of sumo. There's like, I feel like I understand a lot more Rikshi's brand of sumo, and so when somebody is off, like Mitakayumi this Basho, like, oh, he's not going for the belt, he's only using like pushing thrusting, that's weird for Mitakayumi, what's going on there? I feel like I could see that a bit more, not for everybody, but for a lot of the guys. I feel like I could see that a lot better than I would have at the very beginning. Anybody else kind of noticing just their understanding of the sport grow as we've been watching?
For me, the biggest difference has been honestly amateur sumo, because the people that I'm watching do wrestling are also the people that I'll be talking to afterwards, and everybody wants to talk about their matches and stuff, right? And I feel like just like hearing the people's hearing the thought process of a wrestler describe what they were trying to do and what actually happened and things like that is very illustrative of it has helped me understand the sport a lot better. And seeing situations pop up that I watched, or a situation that I talked to a friend about, seeing it pop up in a pro sumo match, it's like, the Leo pointing at the screen meme.
Right there.
That one. Yeah, so like that kind of thing pops up here and there. But yeah, like Ryan said, a lot of it is just not just recognizing like, oh, I think he's going to try and do this move, but also like knowing the guys themselves and knowing their tendencies, I think helps. Mitakumi was the perfect example. Like I can tell that that's not what he wants to do, but it's what he thinks he has to right now.
Mm.
And I do feel like I appreciate more Rikshi than what I used to, just kind of understanding things more and watching things like Sumo Primetime, which talk to a lot of the different Rikshi. You get to know their personalities a little bit more. As much as I hate to, that makes me like them more when I don't necessarily want to. But a guy who just like in ring stuff, I appreciate more than I would otherwise. Like we mentioned it before, Kodaweko, like he's just fun to watch every single Basho, every single match. He's just, whether he wins or loses, he's putting on a good show. So I really appreciate Kodaweko despite him not having great results all the time. And honestly, Nishikigi this past week, just watching him absolutely go nuts. Like even as he was my chump and I'm not getting any points from him in the final week, I'm still just appreciating it more than hating him because he's costing me the Yusha, just because I could see like this dude is really freaking strong. Like I don't know that I've noticed it before, but basically if I don't know, he was just so strong and just moving people forward at his will. It was crazy.
Well, and at one point, wasn't Nishikigi a Sekiwake? Didn't he make it up that high?
I think his career high is Mike Shear 2.
Oh, was it 2? Dang, I thought he was up higher than that.
No, he should be at a new career high. Mike Shear 2. His new career high should be next Basho. I think he'll be Mike Shear 1 next Basho. With a real chance of making it up to Sanyaku for the first time in his career, as he is 32 years old. So that'd be really interesting to see that.
Nope, we're done. This is a fluke.
And
all right, I think for to get us back on topic, I think for me, the big thing that's kind of changed for me is my appreciation of continued success. There have been when we joined it, like there was people like Hakuo were always good, but they were kind of hurt. But we had a lot of people trying to kind of fill that space in the upper ranks, and we had so many hot streaks where people went hot, like they went really good. Like Tochinoshin, who had a great Ozeki run, he was doing pretty good. But then like all the injuries, sumo is such a brutal sport of where it just goes year round. It's just kind of, you have to be good. You have to be good the entire year to be able to do that. And just all the people who did well, but they were unable to actually sustain that As just there's a lot of people who've kind of come and gone in that regard. But the people who are able to be good, be on hot streak, and able to sustain that at the same time is just so impressive. That's kind of the big thing that's just kind of changes how hard that actually is, and the kind of the thing I'm kind of looking towards. And honestly, like this Basho with all the Sekiwake who are just on such a hot streak right now. Granted, it's still relatively short in the whole term. Hopefully, they're able to keep it up. It's just kind of such a joy to watch.
Yeah, it'd be crazy impressive for like 2 more of those Sekiwake that are on a current hot streak to make it up to Ozeki, because we just haven't seen kind of this level of sustained success from so many guys at the same time. So it would be amazing if we could get 2 or 3 guys promoted to Ozeki this year.
But yeah, but also like the Takakeishos and like just the Terunofuji who had those setbacks of injury, but they're able to still kind of just come back from that. That's just really impressive to see, because that's such a hard thing to do.
And we did get one more question from one of our patrons. Rod sent me a question on Twitter. Why is it a highway to hell, but a stairway to heaven? Jake.
Because it's easier.
That's
Okay,
that's what I was thinking. Absolutely. Yeah. Like you gotta work for the good things in life. You've got to work hard. You've got to earn it. That's why you've got to go on a stairway to heaven. It's a lot easier to do the wrong thing, to do the bad thing sometimes, and that's to take the highway down to hell. So I think it's just
even if it's really, really cool, it is still
the music is outstanding.
Also real quick, thank you to Rod for sending us
yes.
more of these excellent Utah truffles. Didn't
Absolutely.
mention that on the midway because I had not gotten a chance to actually give them to people yet. But
thank you
I just
so
wanted
much.
Just wanted to mention that again. Thank you.
That is always very much appreciated, Rod. You don't have to do that, so it's
Thank
great
you.
that we
Yeah.
can get that.
It's absolutely not like required. Of course not. But,
Should
I
we
mean,
make
send
it a
us more
requirement?
candy.
Yeah, should
Not-
we make that a requirement of our listeners?
No, it's not required for Rod to do.
Well, no,
Oh,
but
all of you
anybody
other
out there,
people
send
not
us
sending
goodies.
us stuff. Yeah, there you go. No, that I just wanted to make sure to mention that.
All right. What was everybody's favorite moment of the Basho? Flaric, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a good question. I was not thinking about this. Come back to me. Give me a couple seconds.
Mac.
It had to be the Uchari. I mean, I just love the Uchari technique itself. So just seeing it displayed beautifully, like, yep, just win.
Yeah, for me it was I was traveling this weekend, so I got to sit on my grandpa's sitting porch out with a view over the lake and watch day 15. Having already known like that the Yusho was locked up, it was I honestly I didn't even take notes on day 15. I just set up my phone and just like sat out there enjoying like the northern Minnesota nature. Not a moment in the ring, but that moment of just sitting there enjoying it from a 100% detached out in nature kind. Well, I mean, of course I have Wi-Fi. I'm not like a savage, but it was out in the middle of nowhere on a lake, and that was lovely. The weather was beautiful. It was the most peaceful sumo I'd watched possibly since the roof of our Airbnb in Tokyo. That was another moment like that for me. It was just lovely.
Nice.
For me, I'm gonna say day 15, watching Jurio, Ochiai, and Gonoyama, seeing if they could push their records to 14-1, get a rematch between Gonoyama and Ochiai, and just watching both of them have sublime sumo throughout the entire Basho, and especially Ochiai. I'm just pinning all of my sumo hopes and dreams on this guy, and I'm ready to be disappointed. But the way that a 19-year-old has come into the sport and has shown that he's already like joy, at least quality Rikishi, is amazing. I just really can't wait to see what a guy that has all of these tools and the mentorship of the greatest Rikishi of all time, what he can do and how far he can go. And so I'm just ready for that need to explode and for him to never be there.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And it's good that he's only 19, because we know that by 22, like Oho, you can be completely washed.
23. 23.
Yeah, just like Wakamoto Haru.
Oh God.
Wakamoto.
No, I was gonna say joy
Wakamoto
level
Haru's
qualities
good.
already.
Oh yeah, dude's good. Dude,
I think I might be a little bit too soon.
we'll
let's
see.
let's wait
We'll
till get
see.
Makiuchi.
I'm like willing right now to put a predictions series point on the line next Basho that minimum 10 wins, and I'm not batting an
Ooh.
eyelash.
Okay.
Okay.
We can talk, man. We can
We'll
talk.
We'll forget, but
Well,
if we remember.
If we remember.
All right.
wait, Flair, what's your favorite moment?
What's your favorite moment?
Okay. The Sekiwake, they just had a great showing. Just kind of everyone pushing for the Ozeki, and they just brought it. It was just so fantastic. And just runner-up, one honorable mention, the Hokuseiho, him just slowly developing. Like he really came. He figured out something that worked this Basho, and he got him a lot of wins and got him up to the joy. And they kind of said, hey, no, there's some weaknesses. This is how you beat it. And just kind of watching him iterate on his sumo next. I'm excited to see what he has next time to the responses of the matches he lost. So those are two fun storylines.
Another guy under the mentorship of Hakuho. So it could be really interesting seeing how high both of those guys can make it. Because Okuseiho, he lost his final 5 matches, but I still leave this Basho feeling better about him than I did the last Basho.
Same.
I get a lot of kind of similar vibes of Terunofuji from him, just simply because he has just like such a big body, like just a very unique body. If he can kind of figure out those situations, like my super long arms, I'm just gonna get a grip. You can't throw me. I'm just gonna throw you in the end. As long as he kind of like find some like a brand of sumo that works for him, I think he's just gonna be unstoppable. Just like Terunofuji, with he gets the Kimedashi and just yeah.
Yeah, don't teach him that move.
No.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our coverage of the Natsu Basho. Coming up, Jake is going to have a few amateur sumo episodes, probably. You usually do.
Nothing locked down yet, but with as much stuff as going on in June, there will be a couple.
Yeah. At some point in June, we will have our Tochi no Shin, I was going to say in memoriam episode. I'm fairly sure.
Oh
he's
God,
still
no.
alive.
I mean, kind of.
Wrong word.
But our Tochi no Shin episode to celebrate his career now that has come to an end. And I think we are going to delay the Bonsuke episode until after Guess the Bonsuke entries are accepted. And so I just trying to get myself a little bit more competitive advantage here. So not going to give my answers away before people can do Guess the Bonsuke.
I see.
But yeah, so until any of those extra bonus episodes come out, have a great off season, and thank you for listening.
We'll see you in Nagoya.
Bye.
Flair's done.
Get me out.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.